Mulder drags Scully on another trip. This time investigating someone who purportedly is controlling the weather.
Manufacturing droughts in order to profit off of rainfall he calls forth. Scully is obviously skeptical of this one.
This is not happening.
Well, it's that time, Mike. Are you ready to laugh?
Are you ready to laugh?
You're ready to laugh at another X-Files episode of season 6, another comedy for the ages?
Another comedy? Uh-oh.
This is the new normal for the X-Files.
Tired feelings here.
It's all funny all the time now. From
Funny.
now on, we don't like serious X-Files. They scare people. And
we got a short little return to form last week, pretty much.
You think that was
close? It was lighthearted, yes. It was not funny.
It was definitely not funny. Welcome back, everybody, to This Is Not Happening, another X-Files podcast with me, Andrew, and as always, my good friend Mike. Mike, continue to say hello to the audience and tell me, defend your point of view that the X-Files is not in season 6.
No, I agree with you. It is a lighthearted romp. And in fact, it is the, quote, number 10 episode, quote, unquote, that I choose to include or not include in my 9 or 10 humorous episodes of season 6. So you're not entirely wrong, sir.
Oh, thank you for giving me that wiggle room to be wrong.
I have been including it for your information when I say 10 out of the 22 episodes are humorous. So you're right.
Yeah. Well, my issue is largely that it's 6 in a row we've had.
It is.
They're all.
It is.
It's just this constant train, and I maybe it was just happenstance. I mean, they don't film them and edit them all in sequence. Obviously, they do a lot of stuff.
They would have done better to split them up a bit.
I think so. I think that's a bit of a miss, but I mean, obviously they had a lot of adjusting to do for moving from Vancouver to Los Angeles. So I do forgive them for the chaos that must have happened to their production company. I think it's interesting that this episode that we're reviewing tonight, The Rain King, is listed as episode 8. It is 8th in the season 6 series, but its production code is 7. So it suggests to me that, and I think the Ghost Who Stole Christmas are 8. So I think that's when they shot them, like the order in which they shot them.
Yeah.
But they obviously have them in the can for a while, and then they release them according to a schedule they like. And I'm guessing they put the Ghost one closer to Christmas because of the holiday. But,
absolutely.
Well, The Rain King is another new writer. This is Jeffrey Bell, who wrote this one, directed by Kim Manners. His first episode written from this series. They purchased it as a freelance script, and Bell is later hired as a full-time writer. He will go on to work on Angel, working alongside Howard Gordon. Eventually, he's going to be the showrunner of that show for the final 2 seasons. So Jeffrey Bell, look at him. He is ascending.
Good on you. Good on you, sir.
Yeah. Anything noteworthy about this one? Do we see actors here and there come from other episodes, go to other episodes?
I mean, I would just like to commend everyone in this episode. I think they all kind of disappear into their roles, which is not unique, but it's something that, you've got Victoria Jackson. She obviously rose to fame with that mousy tone that, she played on Saturday Night Live, and they use it to great effect here. This is a perfect role for her voice and and her demeanor. And then Clayton Rohner as Daryl, stellar job at being a slimeball.
Oh, yeah.
And then David Manis as Holman, just the perfect, lovable nerd.
Where have I seen David Manis before? Because I recognize him, but I can't remember.
He's in a lot of stuff, but he's definitely I don't want to say B role, but he's definitely a supporting actor. You've seen him in a lot of stuff.
He's not built for the lead per se. Although
he's not Tom Cruise.
They kind of give him an ingenue role in this, which is fun.
Yeah.
Well, do we want to get into it, as they say?
Well, let's get in on it.
Yeah, get it. Let's let the rain come forth. Let it fall down upon me. Interesting, eh? That the last episode that we covered, terms of endearment, we had garbages. I'm only happy when it rains.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So she'd love it if she was married to Holman.
Yes. There's a relationship, Betsy and Holman. Well, Holman has his own thing to deal with. So let's talk about Holman.
Let's dive in
this episode. Yeah. We open on a Valentine's Day card. Be my dream Valentine. A woman's hands open the card to sign it, long nails polished red. Love Sheila, XOXO, and a red lipstick kiss. We pull back to see Sheila, dressed in red lingerie with her blonde hair done up in an uptail. It's Valentine's Day in Kroner, Kansas. She places the Valentine in a red envelope next to a pair of presents wrapped in red and lights some red candles. She changes channels on the TV, chewing on a bonbon as weatherman Holman Hart of KPJK5 tells us about the weather in Kroner. Still no rain in sight as another winter storm passes south. Sheila hears the door open. Her baby is home early, but her baby, Daryl Moots, is not happy. Showing her a notice in the paper, it's their wedding engagement. What was she thinking? He wanted to keep it secret, but she was just so happy. He's unhappy because business has been slow. Somehow it's related to the lack of rain in the area. He's pissed, wanting to call it off, and casually insults her figure because she's eating chocolates. He storms out, leaving her romantic evening in tatters as he gets into his car and drives away. Meanwhile, Sheila turns on the radio as the Carpenters' Rainy Days and Mondays comes on. Daryl drinks some beer while Sheila eats more chocolate, and tears drip down from her eyes. Meanwhile, outside, it begins to rain to Daryl's whooping delight. He screams with pleasure, sticking his hand out the window, but wham, it hurts as he's hit by hail, which turns to giant shards of ice. He swerves on the road as the car is devastated by the impossible hailstorm, finally colliding with a pole as giant pieces of ice smash down. As the camera lingers nearby, we see that these aren't normal pieces of ice. They are shaped like hearts. Credits. What a scene. Mike, what do you think?
It's a good scene. When you see the hail is hearts, that's
that's your cue.
Some interesting X-Files action there.
I kind of wanted the ice to be in the shape of an X. Just a little X falling down.
Broken up.
That would be great. It'd be like
X-Files, little alien heads.
This is the original X-File right here.
Yes. I mean, good stuff so far. I think it's straightforward. We get a good question at the end, and obviously we know what the mood is going to be for this episode.
Yeah, I mean, the illusion is that she's crying, she makes it rain. So that's fine. It's never clear to me what Daryl's job is that is connected to the lack of rain. Is it ever remarked on? Do you know this?
I think it's got something to do with crops, but I don't know.
Of some kind.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I mean, everybody is apparently in Kansas.
Yeah. I mean, you can't swing a dead cat in Kansas without hitting some crops.
Okay. It's 6 months later in Kroner. A single prop plane flies in along a makeshift runway, distinctly in the middle of nowhere. Coming to a halt, Mulder and Scully creak their way out of the cramped aircraft. A man and a young girl emerge from behind a silver trailer. He's dressed in a gray suit, and she's dressed in a cheerleading leotard. She immediately presses play on her tape deck and goes into a baton routine. Is this a state welcome in Kansas? Jim Gilmore, the mayor, walks over to greet the FBI agents. Scully is quickly misidentified by Gilmore as the missus, but he quickly apologizes when she corrects him, thanking them for coming to help them figure out their crisis.
Well, it's all around us. Runted crops, field fires, bankruptcies. This drought is destroying people's lives, and it's wrong for a single man to prosper at the expense of others.
A single man?
Daryl Moots. He's a local fella, charging people for rain.
You mean cloud seeding?
The hell I do. I mean, he shows up at a farm, does his dog and pony act, and the heavens weep.
Well, sir, if this man Moots could, in fact, somehow produce rain, then what's the crime?
I believe Daryl's causing the drought so he can charge folks for the rain.
And this is what you told Agent Mulder when you spoke earlier?
Yes, ma'am. He seemed real eager to help us.
And that is the last we're going to see of Mayor Gilmore.
Mulder's in deep doo-doo.
I ask you, do you think she would have gotten on that plane without knowing what was waiting for them in Kansas? Scully, we're going to take a trip down to Kansas.
Oh, absolutely she would have.
In defiance of our regularly scheduled duties, by the way.
This is classic Mulder, and she gets herself in just as much trouble as he does. She's just as complicit in his games.
Well, we do know that from The Ghost Who Stole Christmas, that they teased that element out, that she, there is a codependency there. She is willing to be her partner because it's the closest thing they have to a real relationship. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like there is definitely a hole to drive through there. But I got some tickets. We're going to just get in. It's going to be fine. Although
just
I suppose
this one prop plane.
They didn't take that plane all the way from Washington.
No, I know.
Flown it to Oklahoma. No, that's another state in the U.S. I don't know what the capital of Kansas is. I never could do state capitals. What is the capital of Kansas, Mike? You should know.
Is it Topeka? I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know my capitals anymore. I don't care.
Who can know, really? Anyway, all that to say, I am surprised at the thought that she would go all that way there without knowing what awaited them on that runway.
It is Topeka. I was right.
Yay! Look at you.
Look at me. Accidentally right.
The camera drifts into downtown Kroner. Buildings boarded up, spray painted with slogans, "Pray for rain." Mulder and Scully drive in as Mulder relates that Kroner has historically been ground zero for extreme weather events. Scully, of course, takes the rational approach. There will always be droughts, and people will always look for a scapegoat. When Mulder quips that scapegoats don't usually rent office space. The duo enter the offices of the Rain King, meeting his secretary, Cindy. She's on the phone when they enter, producing their badges. Cindy motions them for them to wait as she goes over Daryl's requirements with a prospective client. A carton of Morley's, a 6-pack of beer, and a big old bowl of jelly beans with the green ones removed because he don't really like the green ones. Agents want a list of Daryl's clients, but Cindy pushes back. Don't they need a warrant or something? Daryl's a hero. He saved my daddy's farm. You have something to say about Cindy?
No, I was just saying she's very astute.
She has watched Law and Order, sir.
She has.
With only the littlest bit of prodding, though, Cindy relents, handing over the client list, all satisfied customers. And in the background, Holman Hart is again presenting the weather, and Mulder thinks that they need to pay him a visit. All right, Mike, I'm going to give you the opportunity to chime in at this point and tell me what you think of this episode so far. Has it sucked you in? Has it started to, rain a little pitter-patter on your head?
It has sucked me in. I, unlike you, and perhaps other people, don't get pissed off when the X-Files is funny. Even No, I'm just joking. Yeah, I'm in so far. I like that. I like the intro. I think Mulder sneaking one past Scully to get her down here, that was enjoyable. And the setup for the story is good. So,
you know what fixes it for me? And I think this is an issue that probably only spec writers are going to have in this period of the show where the agents have been sidelined from the X-Files, where they're doing an assigned job, which is not sexy. They're doing the background checks and all that.
Yeah.
They're not really weaving that in. They're going outside the lines with this idea that Mulder can just ignore his responsibilities. Like, he has been burned for that. So I push back a little bit on that. They write these episodes with him just, I'm going to investigate this thing because I can. Terms of Endearment was a little better because they showed his essentially opposition to Spender on doing that, which was good.
Yeah.
But here in this one, it's like they go to Kansas. I mean, the way you solve it is they got to do a background check in Kansas. And then while they're there, they find out about this thing and they go and do that.
Yeah. Or make it so that Mulder knows about this and comes up with someone they need to investigate as a background check.
Why would you willingly go to the middle of nowhere, Kansas, Mulder? I mean, I know you hate this assignment, but since when have you shown any interest in it? All you need.
They don't make it clear as to whether or not this is on like a Saturday, or on their time off. They just are still doing weird shit. and kind of getting away with it. So I will agree with that.
Mike, we cut to the KJPK TV studio, the agents entering as they're greeted by Sheila, who assumes they're there as the Gundersons, winners of a romantic getaway. As they produce their idea, the real Gundersons arrive, a dowdy farm couple whom Mulder relates it's like looking in a mirror. They go on to ask some questions of Holman in his office. He confirms that Kroner is a sophisticated, complex, even sexy area for weather. He can't imagine a more exciting place to be a meteorologist. Scully asks what he thinks of Daryl Moots.
Called you in, didn't he? He thinks Daryl's causing the drought.
You don't think he's responsible?
Of course not. A huge high-pressure system is the primary culprit. There's no credible evidence to suggest that Daryl or any man can be held accountable for our predicament.
Thank you. Can we go now?
I don't know. What about the rain?
That's a more clouded issue, if you'll excuse my pun.
Now, I have a list of over 40 names here. People in 4 different counties. They claim that Daryl Moots has made it rain for them.
I went to high school with Daryl. Different social circles, and frankly, he's about the last man I would give credit to for anything.
I hear a big butt coming.
Daryl appears to be the real deal. I can't explain it, but where he wanders, showers follow.
Okay.
Scully was so close. So close, Scully. Can we just go home? The meteorologist said there's no scientific proof for this shit. Oh. And
so I have a question for you at this point, Mike.
Yeah.
Does Holman know about his own abilities or not?
Yes. Of course he does.
So he is straight up lying to these two.
Oh, yeah.
Why? I mean,
well, because
other than it would be to admit he has this power, but
well, they're poking around. He doesn't want them poking around. He's just trying to live his life. I don't know.
That's true.
They're investigating it, and I guess in some way he would be culpable. If they can find Daryl Moots guilty of something, then he would get roped into that as well.
I suppose.
Because he is the one doing it.
I think it would have been better for him to just say, I can't explain it. I really don't know why, as opposed to Daryl appears to be the real deal. I mean, that's just to keep the plot going.
Right.
Scully's like,
shit, we have 30 minutes left. We got to get this going.
That's right.
This episode ends quick.
Yeah. So I understand why they do it. Obviously, they don't want to tip their hand to Holman too early. But I just sort of have a bit of an issue with him being like, I'm going to lie to you and tell you this is the way it is. He's the real deal. It's just, it just endangers him more than it solves his problem. But what do I know? I didn't write it.
No, I got you.
We cut to the Monroe farm later that afternoon. Scully can see the desperation on the faces of the farmers. They're willing to believe anything. The king arrives, Daryl driving up in a red GMC truck, license plate Rain King. He's looking better than in our opening with a nice blue suit and red snakeskin boots. With crutches, he wanders over to the tent.
Boot.
A boot, yes, you're absolutely right. A singular boot. He wanders over with crutches, and he goes over to the tent for a beer and sets himself down in a chair as a woman produces a road case with a prosthetic limb, outfitted with another cowboy boot, but it's the wrong boot, Mike. So he says, why don't you go over there and get me the red snakeskin boot? She does so. And at this point, Mulder and Scully are in the crowd. Daryl sees them among the farmers, and he taunts the FBI, "Oh, ye of little faith," as Mulder asks Daryl to explain how he does it. Daryl relates that he comes from a long line of healers touched with the really real, the unseen real. At this point, he gives a signal, and the woman turns on the tape deck as some mid-tempo synth pop begins to play, and Daryl begins to dance badly.
More like gyrate.
Gyrate is the best word for it, yeah. The agents walk away, and Scully is incredulous at this display. But of course, as Mulder gives us some exposition about the history of the rain dance, there is a thunderclap, and the rain pours down. The farmers are elated, the agents are soaked, And Daryl gives a big pair of thunder guns as he is vindicated.
I love his demeanor now that he has some money. He's got
so
the spray
smarmy.
tan. He's got his freaking corded necktie.
Yeah.
Oh man, this guy's got a terrible suit on. Good stuff. Good stuff. Very, very cocky.
And he is burning through whatever money he's making.
Oh yeah.
He is not putting it away. He's not making hay while the sun's up. He's doing the opposite of whatever that is.
Yeah.
We cut back to the TV station. Sheila going to talk to Holman. They are going to the high school reunion together on Friday, and it has been 20 years since they finished school together. And she wonders what the FBI were asking about, and Holman confirms it was about Daryl, and she laments that they should just go away and leave him alone. Holman is exasperated that she still loves him. The only thing he cared about was her money, and as soon as he got any of his own, he left. He hints that there are other men that love her more. Him, obviously. But she doesn't pick up on this hint, as she walks away, nervous about the presence of the FBI. Oh, Holman.
Oh, Holman.
Later on that night, at the agent's hotel, it's windy as a storm is in the offing. Neither of the two can sleep, with Mulder reading a newspaper article about the 26 tornadoes that have set down. He goes to close the windows, seeing the cows in a nearby field, hearing their moos of distress as the wind rages. In the gloomy distance, he sees the form of a cow pulled aloft from a current of wind and hears it mooing in the unseen distance above. It gets closer, and he vaults out of the way as a cow comes crashing through the ceiling and onto his bed as we cut to commercial.
Oh, man. That's ridiculous. Now, this I have an issue with.
Yeah, okay. Mike, this is the perfect episode. I don't know why you hate the X-Files so much.
I can't decide if Holman did this on purpose or not, because they allude to the fact that, Mulder says this cow had my name on it.
Mm-hmm.
And Holman rushes in concerned. But would he resort to murder?
I mean, if Mulder was
just to get the FBI out of town? Like, I don't know.
It's a bit weak.
I feel like they wanted it to be on purpose, but then they kind of backpedal immediately.
Well, yeah. I mean, immediately he's going to come in the next scene and apologize profusely.
Yeah, but I don't think he's that kind of person, though. Like, what about Holman? If he is that kind of person, I fear for Sheila at the end of this episode.
Here's the thing. I think that he conjured up the tornadoes. Mm-hmm. I don't think that he intentionally dragged up a cow and blew it at Mulder's hotel room. I think that was an accident.
Okay.
And I think that's why he's so prophetically sorry. It's not, he didn't try and kill him. I think that was an accident, and that's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just the way Mulder describes it. That cow had my name on it. So it makes me think that it's on purpose. Well, all right.
Worth noting, the hotel roof. Do you know the story behind the hotel roof?
I do not.
Okay. They wanted to do a practical. They wanted to have this scene we're about to see, which is the damage done to the hotel roof. Like, they literally wanted to carve through and see into a hotel room. So they went around asking hotels, if they, and I think they're at like Pasadena or something shooting this. So they basically made the offer. Look, if you let us tear a hole in a hotel roof, over top of one of your rooms that we can shoot in, we will pay to have your roof replaced. And a lot of them said no. And then one of them was like, hey, we need to have our roof replaced anyway. We will totally take you up on that. And we can say that we were a shooting location for the X-Files.
Yeah. I would do it in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. Well, of course you would. But, they would never have come to Wisconsin, Mike. So there you go. Sorry.
That's true. They only fake shoot in Wisconsin.
They shoot in Los Angeles as Wisconsin. It totally fits in.
We have a lot of deserts.
Yeah, and
like ship harbors.
Places is ship harbors. The harbor of Wisconsin. So they were a commercial. We come back. We see the damage done to the hotel roof by the cow. As someone mentions to Scully that if she doesn't want to get hamburger all over her, she better leave the room. A man starts up with a chainsaw, and the sounds of gory destruction are heard.
Ugh.
That's just how they do things. Scully is told by the curler-clad patroness of the motel that she's going to have to share a room with her partner. Again, they think that she's his girlfriend or his wife, more like. Mulder got a cut in the cow bender, I don't know what you call that, which a doctor says he can just stitch up as Scully goes to join them. Mulder does not think this is a coincidence that a cow fell through the roof into his room as Holman Hart arrives, apologizing profusely. And again, Mike, is this the hallmark of a man who has no involvement, that he would apologize for a cow falling?
I don't know. I mean, maybe he's just being pleasant, and it is Midwestern United States. They want us to think that everyone's just super hospitable and happy, and gosh darn it, we don't want anything bad to happen to you during your short stay, FBI people. I'm so sorry a cow almost dropped on your head. So you have issue with this?
Yeah. Well, this should be your first clue that Holman is the cause, that he is involved, that he comes in and apologizes personally for the devastation that almost befell them. I just want to say I'm stuck on the freeze frame of the scene where we see the roof of the hotel, and it needed to be replaced. Pretty quickly.
Yeah. I don't think it's a coincidence that a cow gets hurled at me just as we're down here investigating the weather.
Mulder, did they check you for head trauma?
I'm telling you, that cow had my name on it.
Major Mulder, are you all right? I feel terrible. If there's anything I can do, please don't hesitate.
Perhaps there is.
Mr. Hart, would you please reassure Agent Mulder that this cow incident was in fact a natural phenomenon?
With pleasure. It's my belief that a mini twister picked that poor creature up, lifted it about 12,000 feet where the air cooled, and I'm just grateful you weren't hurt any worse.
Excuse me.
You shouldn't be here.
Holman, don't make this any harder. It's my fault. I did it. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. It's not something that I can control.
Are you saying that you're somehow responsible for...
I murdered that poor cow!
And there's a line for the ages.
Yes. Oh, the poor cow. Poor Sheila. She thinks she did it.
Well, and it's a great little switch and bait that we're coming back to Sheila being the one responsible. We've got more evidence that it's Sheila who's controlling the weather. So, I mean, this is totally fine.
Yeah.
Despite Scully reporting what Holman has explained, she relates that this is not the first time this sort of thing's happened. And here's the short bullet list of the things that have happened to poor Sheila. On the night of their prom, tornado demolished the high school. On her wedding day, in the 4th of July, it snowed 6 inches. After her husband ran off with another woman on the day of her divorce, all the clouds were faces that were laughing at her. Small note, when you look at the visual that they supply, the clouds were smiling. And not to mention that 6 months ago, after she and Daryl had a fight, a freak hailstorm cost him his leg. Despite all this evidence, Mulder is quick to reassure Sheila that she is not responsible for these events. Even enlisting Scully's rational thinking to the cause, she is indeed reassured, kissing Mulder's hands in gratitude and gazing up at him, then leaving. After she's left, the medic relates that it wasn't the weather that caused Daryl's crash. He was drunk. Holman is shocked, noting that he had not heard that. The medic intones solemnly that they thought him losing his leg was punishment enough, and that is everything you need to know about living in Kansas.
Yeah, they just let it go that he was drinking while driving. He lost his leg. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, that it could happen to anybody, really.
Well, you know what? Believable. You know why? Because I think in Wisconsin, there are people who are still driving around with like 7 or 8 DUIs, and they just still manage to stay out of prison. So I don't know.
Oh, totally believable. Yeah. And if something bad happens to them, then it's karma. You know, as long as nobody else gets hurt, they're not going to get thrown in jail for.
If only that were the case.
Oh, exactly. That obviously is not always the case. Ladies and gentlemen, don't drink and drive.
Do not drink and drive.
Well, later on, Daryl is making it rain at a farm, his neck shoulders being massaged by Cindy. He laments that people just don't understand how complicated his job is, how he's thinking on like 14 different levels. As Cindy interrupts his reverie to tell him it has stopped raining. And Daryl is shocked.
Well, I like
Coincidence.
that Mark Snow kind of sting right there, kind of a drop in stomach.
Yeah. And it so works with Daryl, right? This look on his face like, oh no.
I'm fucked. It's that time, everyone. The Magus Media Production sales pitch. Please check out our homepage at magusmediaproductions.net so you can stay up to date on all of our shows. Check out our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Magus Media Productions, both of which have our Discord link on it, where you can join us for live shows as we record them for future release. At Magus Media Prods on X, our Patreon, patreon.com/Magus Media, where a $5 donation will help us keep the lights on and bringing you new content, and you get some stickers. Thank you for your consideration and support.
Back at the motel, Scully arrives to their room, announcing that their flight is on schedule for 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Mulder relates how in 1991 it rained rose petals for half an hour. Scully's not convinced the rain stopped this afternoon. Daryl Moots is being sued by around 50 people, and Mulder himself convinced Sheila that she was not the cause. There is no case here. But Mulder's superpower has come full swing. He does not believe that Sheila or Daryl were responsible for the weird weather, but rather Holman Hart. Did you know, Scully, that he's been hospitalized 5 times with nervous exhaustion, each time coinciding with a major meteorological event? He figures that Holman's emotional state affects the weather, to which Scully can only respond with her patented look of disbelief.
She just can't win.
They were just so close to getting out of here.
Get me back to civilization.
Do you know I can't get my clothes dry cleaned here?
She has a very good, I'm so tired of this look. But she continues on because she, God damn it, she cares about Mulder and she can't get home. I think any other partner would have just bought a plane ticket home at this point.
Yep.
And just left him here. But
there's nothing to say that she has been convinced in this scene. Because tomorrow she's at the airport.
Right.
She's like calling him to say, we're not going anywhere. But no, I don't think she's convinced by what he says here.
No.
Well, we're going to cut to Holman in darkness, expressing his heartfelt feelings to Sheila. A phone rings, interrupting his heartfelt sentiments. It's Sheila. And we realize he's been practicing what he wants to say to her. She's in a great mood, and it's all because of Holman. Mike, is this his moment? She is over Daryl now. She's been chasing the wrong kind of guy. She needs someone she can talk to, someone she can feel safe with. And she leads up to the big question, can she ask Holman something, and can he keep it a secret? What does Holman think of Agent Mulder? Lightning crashes, and we cut to commercial. Oh, damn. Did you see this coming?
Poor
Holman. Have this secret.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was never going to just work out like that. It never does, ladies and gentlemen. you ladies toy with our hearts.
That's true.
And he's obviously got a schoolboy crush, so that's where his head is at. He's still very much in school right now, talking to the hot popular girl.
Well, I mean, he literally started the scene by telling us, how much he has adored her forever. So, I mean, it's not a secret, Mike.
No.
Well, after the commercial, Mulder comes to visit Holman. He's leaving, but before he leaves, he wants to tell Holman to go get some help before he kills someone. He's on to Holman's secret. He tells him, I don't care what you say. I know you do it. And after some back and forth, Holman admits that it's true. He can control the weather. And that it is, of course, Holman's longing for Sheila that is the root cause.
So really, it's Sheila's fault.
It's all women's fault.
How can a frog tell a swan that he loves her?
Well, you better tell her you're gonna kill somebody.
You've got to help me.
I got a plane to catch.
You can't go. If you don't help me, who will?
I am meeting my partner at the airport. Excuse me, hold on. Mulder.
Mulder, it's
I'm on my way.
I'm not so sure. Have you looked outside lately? It's pea soup. Our plane can't take off until after this fog lifts.
Fog? Holman.
Holman?
Yeah, he wants advice. Dating advice.
Dating advice from whom?
Yours truly. Hello? Hey, Scully. Scully, you there?
I heard you. Mulder, when was the last time you went on a date?
I will talk to you later.
That is possibly the best moment in the show.
Well, that's good. Just processing. You could hear the wheels spinning in her head. Did he just say that?
Yeah, it's so good. Now, here's a question. When did that fog roll in?
As they were talking.
Literally as they were talking.
As Mulder and Holman were talking, he conjured it immediately.
Yeah. He saw where this was going. He's like, I got to keep him here.
Yep.
Well, we cut to Daryl at the office with Cindy, reviewing the books. And, Mike, it is very bad. Dairy Queen will clearly take Cindy back, and she does make almost $6 an hour. He thinks there has to be a way for him to get some real money. And he lights upon it. Sheila, he says. And then he proceeds to dump Cindy, who can't believe this is happening. I mean, there's a guy. He's like, you've been great, honey, but I got to go hit up my ex-girlfriend who I dumped and see if she will give me some money to save my ass.
Yeah, he's a real slimeball.
Oh, yeah, he is the definition. I'm amazed that he gets out of there alive.
Yes. But she loves him. She loves him.
Well, she has a real look of a woman scorned, like she could do some damage to you if you mess her up. I mean, she did work at Dairy Queen for.
Put you in the blizzard machine.
Yeah. Will turn you upside down and you will not leave the cup.
No.
Over at the TV station, Mulder and Holman walk around. Holman is envious of Mulder and frankly shocked that Mulder and Scully haven't progressed beyond a friendship. They arrive at Sheila's office. According to Mulder, if Holman just tells Sheila how he feels, the drought will end and it will all be okay. Well, Holman summons up his courage. He opens the door and he walks in to tell her how he feels. He almost chickens out, but shaking with self-doubt, he ends up telling her he loves her. And she loves him too. Outside, it begins to rain. Holman and Sheila emerge. Mulder triumphant, but Holman is not. It turns out she loves Holman for sure, but she's in love with Agent Mulder.
Oh, boy. No.
What have you done, Mulder? You've inserted yourself into the plot.
God damn it. He would totally go for it.
Yeah, actually, I think that Sheila and Mulder could be very happy together.
I think so.
I think that this is a really interesting opportunity for him to change his life.
She would wait on him hand and foot.
God, and he'd be so good to her. My goodness.
I've got this crazy theory. Please tell me about it. She would eat everything up.
She'd be a much better partner for him than Scully would be.
That's very possible.
That is a show I would like to see.
The Sheila and Mulder show.
And Fox Mulder, FBI.
Well, she was in the running for Gillian Anderson.
I did not hear that.
Oh, that's because I made it up.
It'd be great, though.
Dana
we home in on Sheila, who's in the midst of an argument with Daryl. Daryl clearly has been shut down after trying to put the moves on Sheila, and he is exasperated to learn that Sheila is in love with somebody else. He demands to know who it is, and as Mulder rounds the corner, Daryl figures out from the look in Sheila's eyes that Mulder is the object of Sheila's affection. Daryl goes wild, taking swings at Mulder, who easily fends off the attacks and puts Daryl in handcuffs. Sheila is amazed, giving Mulder a big reward, kissing Mulder passionately. And of course, Holman and Scully round the corner, seeing it all. Holman, shocked, flees. Scully announces that the fog is lifted and they can leave, but Mulder sees the weather radar. A giant storm is approaching, and we cut to commercial. Oh no. And that looks like a heck of a storm. I don't know if you caught that on the...
It does look like a heck of a storm.
That's a starfish.
I don't like that they ask the question because
do you know how weather radar works?
Yeah, I mean, come on. Everyone knows this.
I think he could have just said, Scully, look at this. And she would have gone, oh, no.
I think it's rain. Thunderstorm.
Maybe they needed to explain it to the audience that this is weather radar. Maybe they needed, the producers at the top were like,
I really hope not, because, the general American audience can be pretty stupid, but come on. I hope they didn't do that for our benefit.
I don't know. I think they might have, It's like in season 1, Fire, where they kept on ad-libbing doing the voiceover stuff at the end.
Yeah.
It's the accelerant,
The accelerant.
Totally off stage. Oh, dear. Okay, after the commercial, we're at the high school reunion where a mirror ball illuminates dozens of dancers as they bop to Rock the Boat. Mulder and Scully arrive. She reports that there have been 7 inches of rain in the last hour. I can't even imagine what that would be like to have 7 inches of rain.
That is a lot of rain.
That is...
To be quite frank, I don't know that many roofs could handle that.
I know.
Because that's real quick.
That is...
There would be a lot of insurance claims after this one.
I think the windows would be coming in from that kind of stress. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, they're on the hunt for Holman. Where Sheila is, he will be. And they find him talking to a fellow classmate, and they escort him out. They tell him to make it stop, but he retorts that this is all Mulder's fault. He was kissing her. So they are in high school after all.
Mm-hmm.
Sheila arrives, eyes for Mulder, and her favorite song comes on, The Things We Do for Love, and she asks Mulder to dance. Scully, much quick on her feet than Mulder is, remarks that Holman was just about to ask her to dance. And she agrees, though she's still clearly interested in Mulder. As they leave, Mulder snaps that Holman needs to tell her. On the dance floor, Holman finally reveals that he's also in love with Sheila, ever since high school. Meanwhile, Mulder and Scully watch, swaying to the music, but Sheila walks away from Holman. It clearly was not received well. Mulder scoffs that he'll build the ark if Scully gathers the animals. This storm is not ending. Scully goes after Sheila to try and explain the situation as she gets it. But despite Scully's well-explained explanation, Sheila assumes that Scully's just jealous of Sheila for Mulder's interest. Meanwhile, Daryl arrives on crutches, having lost his prosthetic, taken by Cindy, who says he's going to have to crawl back to her. Oh, I love that. That's the scene I want to see right there.
That's good stuff. And you're right. She can cause some havoc if she needs to.
I want a big old wound on his head, from the prosthetic limb. That's what I want to see. Well, Daryl's demanding
here.
Yeah. Demanding to know where Sheila is. Daryl is waving around. In the bathroom, Sheila is amazed that Scully isn't interested in Mulder. The man knows how to kiss. Sheila just never thought of Holman romantically, that they were best friends. But Scully suggests that some of the best relationships start as intense friendships. To which I say, Scully, how do you know? Other than, I guess, she was in that one relationship with the older man who could have been her father. I mean, that's a friendship, right?
She gets another one next season.
Okay, but that's not now. I mean, she was throwing shade at Mulder for his lack of dating knowledge. But what has her experience been that we've seen, eh?
Probably more successful than him.
It's true.
Maybe not. Maybe not in the last 6 years. She hasn't been,
it's all
focused on it.
We don't see it. It's off.
I'm sure there have been plenty of Robs.
Yeah, it's true. Single dad Rob could have been special.
Go to the Cirque du Soleil for the kids.
For the kids. So while they're having this conversation, the sinks in the bathroom begin to back up with brackish water, and they flee the bathroom. Back on the dance floor, Daryl tries again to take vengeance on Mulder, pathetically swinging his crutch at Mulder, who easily dodges them, Daryl falling face first and passing out. The power goes out as Scully arrives, lightning crashing in the distance. And suddenly, it is calm as Sheila arrives at Holman's side.
Is it true that you make the weather? Because of me? tornado in high school. Snow at my wedding.
I'm so sorry.
Daryl's rain?
Can't explain the logic of it. Yes, some strange manifestation of guilt.
Even this rain? Because you love me?
Because I love you.
That is the most romantic thing I've ever heard.
And with that, the power comes back, the mirror ball turns back on, and the rain stops. Everything's going to be all right. And to top it off, Somewhere Over the Rainbow comes on. Cindy comes in with Daryl's leg. They're going to be fine too. And Sheila and Holman finally end their protracted embrace. They connect back with Mulder and Scully. As Mulder asks how it went, Holman suggests that Mulder should try it sometime, glancing obviously at Scully. In our denouement, it's a year later. Holman is reporting the weather as Sheila cuddles a newborn, a rainbow ending in the field outside their window. End of episode. Mike, what do you think of The Rain King?
It's just goofy enough to be an X-File. Now, I will say, the idea, they may have shot a little too big with this one. This goes kind of along the lines of when they bring heaven and hell together. Or like, this is a pretty big concept that this man can control the weather. So it's almost like, how is this guy ever going to have a normal life after this? And I don't know. It feels like a very, very strong power to just kind of leave in the lurch. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
You know what? I immediately walked past trying to make sense of the power. This would line up nicely with my pocket grievance for phenomenon that are cast aside in interest of the plot, i.e. Die Hand die Verlitz, the water going around backwards, as a kind of plot device of, look at that. That's interesting. Anywho, about the plot. I mean, in this case, you're absolutely right. Like, here's a guy who can control the weather, either consciously or unconsciously. There should be the fleet of scientists coming in to, steal him away and put him in a single room somewhere, either for the protection of the country or wanting to know how it works so we can weaponize it. But that does not.
So how can we weaponize this?
How can we take it?
Bring him to the Middle East.
Yeah, they could use some hailstorms the size of hearts. Yeah, but no, that clearly was not the intent in this, but please go on.
And I like the episode. I do. It's fun. It's funny. And like I said at the beginning, I think the characters or the actors disappear into their roles pretty well. I do enjoy the banter between Mulder and Scully, and there's some good humor in it. I will agree with you that it is on the tail end of the string of comedic episodes that we've had so far, ever since episode 3. So I could see, like we said earlier, it should probably have been mixed up a little bit more, but still, it doesn't mean it's bad writing. So while it can be tiresome to have this many in a row that are lighthearted for this specific show, I think it's still an enjoyable episode.
Yeah, I mean, you could have parked The Rain King anywhere in season 6 because it is definitely not attached to anything. Like you said, they're doing this on their off time. Kirsch doesn't care where they are for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But yet they chose to put it here, probably because, they had to shoot it for whatever considerations, people's availability. This is where it had to be shot, and then they, have a window of opportunity to put them on TV. They got to put something out. So that's kind of where they cast themselves, and that just means that you got a string of 6 comedies in a row, and that's just how it landed. But I mean, for me, at this point, regular viewers of the show must have been wondering, is this show a comedy now? Are we ever going to have mythology again? Is there ever going to be a dark, edgy thing that we've seen in the past? I mean, in short, has this show jumped
next week?
Next week.
You will get all the drama.
Yeah, and all the gross, too. And you're going to think this is it for Mitch Pileggi. But
yeah.
It's been a heck of a run for comedy, and this episode is no exception. David Manis does an excellent turn as hapless Holman Hart. Victoria Jackson is completely believable as the hopelessly romantic Sheila.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know the actor's name who plays Daryl Moots, but he is also
Clayton
fantastic
Rohner.
as this scumbag that is, they're caricatures, but they're wonderful characters.
Oh, yeah.
Caricatures. And as you say, they do disappear in those roles. There is a lot to like in this episode. Even if the mechanism, as you say, for the weather control, impossible to explain, it's just magic, and is completely forgotten about by the end. Everything. It's like in Dreamland. By the end, it's almost like it never happened. And they just leave it.
I think Holman Hart would be capitalizing on this power by the end of his romance with Sheila. It's like, how can we turn this into money?
I almost want some element of, now that I have achieved what my heart's desire has been, my power goes away.
And I think they allude to that, but I don't it could go either way.
The rainbow is literally landing in their field. So
that's the thing, is like, we just have to assume he's only going to use it for good, but should he ever get stressed out, things are going to go badly.
They're going to want him to move to the Middle East pronto,
Yeah.
And 98, where what's the hot spot in 98? It's I guess the Gulf at this point.
Yeah, Gulf War.
Our saber rattling with Saddam Hussein.
Yeah.
And 3 years before first, Gulf War I.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's pretty much it. Again, no comments for this one because we did a little stealth recording because I got to go away for a bit. But
go away.
Yeah, I listen. I like this one more than some of the previous comedies because I think it's a bit tighter and the characters are a bit more fun. Like it's a good episode. I'm just ready for some serious stuff now.
Well, buckle up, sir.
Buckle up, I shall.
Buckle up. So the next time we record, we will be doing SR 819, and you'll get all the drama
and all the goo. As is our custom, Mike, I shall give you the final word for tonight.
Let me think. When you're stressed out, try not to send out mini tornadoes and watch out for the bovine because you don't want to kill anyone. And certainly not the cows. Have a good night.
You can't tell me what to do.
I just did. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please rate and review on your podcast app of choice. Andrew and I would be eternally grateful to you fine people for helping us expand and get the word out. Also, we've got a killer group on Facebook. Feel free to join in on the discussion at facebook.com/groups/thisisnothappeningpod and become an official member of the syndicate. We do polls and we have questions for every episode to give you guys the opportunity to chime in and possibly let your voice be heard on our recordings. And please join us on our new Twitter at TINHXFilesPod, no dash, to stay up to date on everything, moment to moment. Thank you, and remember, don't stop swimming.